Hey everyone, Jeff here, and today I'm going to show you how you can outline the changes of a blues in position using things you already know how to do. One of the main questions I get asked from my students is, how do I make my blues soloing more interesting? One of the first things I say is, well, how are you with your kind of stock pentatonic blues lick ideas? I would say that's first. The next question I ask is, can you play over the changes? And I usually get that quizzical look as to, I don't know what you mean. What I mean by that is, can you outline the sounds of the blues chord changes within your soloing? And very often most people say, no, I can't really do that. This is where your blues playing can become so much more interesting. Now, the simplest and quickest way to start to play over the chord changes is to simply see the chord in the position that you were playing in. So I'm playing on a G blues, so my few voicings that we're going to check out, G7 like this, we have G7 with a little bit of pinky right there. I'm going to go to C7, just our basic old C7 bar chord, or I could flatten out my third finger and get that B flat, which is the flat 7 on top. Now I'm going to go to this D7 right here, like that. So it's a C form bar chord, based upon that, back to the 1. So we could start to mix some of those ideas with the pentatonic scale, but for right now, I'm just going to play a blues by myself and just use notes from those voicings. Okay, so I'm just going to play this in my solo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you hear the chord changes behind what I played? I didn't need to have somebody behind me going, right, playing those changes, because I outlined them just with my soloing. So as you can see, the concept here is being able to play over blues in one position. If this is something you'd like to learn more about, I've just put out a new product. It's a workshop. It's sort of like a mini course. It's just a little over an hour long, really inexpensive. And I show you this and a lot more ways to see how you can make the chord changes on a slow blues. I use a slow blues because it makes it easier to make the changes in the key of G in one position. I think it's really helpful. It's the way I teach people to navigate these changes, and it's the way I've learned how to do it myself. You start in one position, all the concepts and ideas you learn in one position, then you can start to do that in another position. And the cool thing is, it starts to snowball. So you can check out that workshop using a super deep discounted price using the link above or below. Now back to it. So how I'm doing this is very simple. Like I said, I'm going to just envision the chord as it goes by. So I have my G7 chord right here. It's not a full arpeggio. We're getting to that by just playing off of the chord fingering I had showed you, right? So right here, I'm going up the G7 chord, or G major triad right here, and ending on my F, which is part of my G7 chord. Now I can get a little spicy with that and slide in from the flat 3 to the natural 3, the B flat to the B. Now, when I went to my C chord, I did something like this. So I'm seeing my C7 chord there. All right, so all I really did, okay, then back to my G7. So I can see a cool little line. Let's take a look at that. I'm going to break that down. So here I'm sliding from my B flat to B. That sounds cool. D, G, F. So I'm playing my 3, 5, root to the flat 7. Do I need to know that? Eventually, yes you do. But right now I'm just seeing it as a chord shape. Then I'm thinking of my C7 chord. I'm just going right down that chord voicing. B flat, and then resolving back to my G. So all I heard was this. So that's really cool. By just seeing the simple chord shape, I made the changes and made my soloing much, much more interesting. So when I went to the 5 chord, let's see if we can have our D7. I just literally played down the notes of the chord. So here I have the D, which is my root, the C, which would be the flat 7 on the chord, and the F sharp, which is the 3rd. Then, so there's my D7 chord, my F sharp. Then I'm going to get to this B flat, because I go to the C7 chord, to the G. So now if I put that together, I'm just going to play the chord and solo with it. It's not going to be really great sounding. It's just an exercise to see how this works. So 2, 3, 4. Here's my C7. Here's my D7, watch. So the very end there, I'm going down that D7 chord, the C, right, the B flat for the C chord, up the half step to the B, which is the 3rd of my G chord. Then I moved up that half step, which is the flat 7 of the D7 chord. Pretty cool, right? Now, if we see some more inner workings of what's going on, check this out on my G7 chord. How about my 5 chord? So just those 3 simple notes outlines the whole changes of the blues. I'm going to play those chords. Now you may have noticed I'm not using a jam track right now, and that is by design. The reason for that is, a jam track's got a tempo to it, and changes are going by, and you're trying to think about what to make it play. And if you miss the changes on the track, and then you got more to think about, we're practicing right now. I want you to see how these notes move in one position. And then right? So as you see how those chords sit on top of each other, and by strictly playing the chord tones, you are hearing the chord changes. So if you have to do it at your own tempo and it's varying tempo because you're practicing, it's faster and slower at first, that's just fine because you're working on it. You're not performing, you are practicing, which is a mighty big difference. So the cool thing about this is that by using chord shapes that you already know, you can start to navigate chord changes that are more difficult. I could do it in any other position. Say I have G7 up here. To C7. To G7. To C7 again. The G7. How about my D7? Let's take a look at that. Let's go to whole step. It's the C7. It's my G7. Let's say we take something like A7 flat 9 flat 13 to D minor 7. Very common resolution. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to play the chord shape. Right? So I'm hearing. I mean, technically you're borrowing from an A altered scale, which is a mode of melodic minor, resolving to a 1 minor chord. Do you need to know that just yet? No. If you see this, You can really navigate those chord changes as they go by. This has saved my butt so many times. Well, that chord, what scale would I play over that? I don't care. Just play the chord and you're good to go. So thanks so much once again for checking that out. Don't forget, I've got my new course out, and it is called Playing the Changes, Blues Soloing and Position, and that is on sale for a special deep discount. Also, if you want to learn more about arpeggios, I've got my free mini course and ebook called Arpeggios Unlocked, and you can check that out by looking at the link above or below. If you want to learn more about playing over chord changes, check out one of these links. It's over here or over there. All right, till next time, I'm Jeff. I'll see you then.